What's the first step that is oftentimes the most challenging and people spend the most amount of time wasting their time and energy on? Well, I think AA got this one right. So when I was feeling depression, suicidal ideation, I spent so much time rejecting that those were valid thoughts. I spent so much time pushing out my negativity because I shouldn't be feeling this way. And I just rejected all of this sort of information that was coming to me, and my symptoms got worse and worse and worse until my only way out was suicide. And so what I wasn't doing is I wasn't accepting. And I think accepting is the first step towards making progress over any mental and emotional health challenge, which I think is one of the core things that AA gets right away, is accepting you have a problem. And when it comes to mental and emotional health, you have to accept where you are. And once you can accept, then you can start to move forward. But what acceptance isn't is, acceptance doesn't mean you stop moving. Acceptance doesn't mean you are done. It doesn't mean you give up. It doesn't mean you even are okay with your situation. It just means that you accept the position that you're in as a valid place to be in. And once you've done that, then you can move forward. But if you're spending your time and energy pushing away this feeling of like, I shouldn't be here, I should be somewhere else, I wish things were different, well, you're not actually in a headspace where you can do anything about it. You're pulling yourself out of the present moment and putting yourself in a future or a past state, which is learned helplessness. You are occupying a state of helplessness instead of, okay, I accept what I'm going through in the moment, and now I can move forward. So if you're having difficulty accepting the reality, there's a lot of really simple things you can do. Honestly, the first thing that I had to do was just repeat in my head, you're not a piece of shit. That was like step one. It was very much something that I had to do every day. I was recommended every time I take a step on the earth, I was supposed to repeat that in my head, you're not a piece of shit. And I eventually started to somewhat believe it. But what that was doing is it was allowing me to accept that I was in a state of negativity, and I was doing something to try and get out of it. I was actively trying to change my mind to come up with a positive of my life, because all I did was see the negatives. And so once I accepted that I was seeing everything in the negative, I was able to start working on how to move things in a positive direction. When I wasn't willing to say, you're not a piece of shit, I was rejecting the fact that I was constantly in a state of self-destruction. And so it was a bit of the fake it till you make it thing, but I think that, we make these problems in front of us so much more challenging than they really need to be. So if you're wondering what is the first step in order to overcome whatever difficulty that you're experiencing, it's usually just accepting that it's a valid place to be. And you can change it, and it doesn't mean that it's okay. It just means that you are where you are, and that's okay.